Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Public Works Committee meeting tonight. We have three agenda items. Two trustees are present and Trustee McGovern. Anybody heard from Trustee McGovern? Well, we'll wait and see if he ends up coming, but I have not heard anything from Trustee McGovern so far. So tonight we do have three agenda items. The first being to consider a transportation and parking regulation request. Our presenter for this item is Leanne Butchlick.
Your packet includes the taper form that was filled out by Ms. O'Neill, who is in the audience. Just in summary, the request related to issues that stem from blocking of one of the Eastwood condominium building access driveways to the underground parking garage. Primarily the issue, as I understand it, with the west driveway, is its proximity to the intersection with Shore Boulevard and Oakland Avenue. The two specific requests in the form were do not block driveway signs. One currently exists at the west driveway. We could look to make that somewhat larger, though not significantly larger. I don't frankly, and I'll allow them to explain the request for the second driveway. I don't think traffic queuing from Oakland is a significant issue at that location. When I did have a conversation with Miss O'Neill, she came to my office one day and we chatted about this. The second request also includes adjustment to the signal to allow more traffic on Shorewood to exit onto Oakland Avenue during any given signal cycle. That really is not possible without a fairly significant and comprehensive review by a traffic engineer of that intersection. And it would also be adjacent intersections. So essentially we would be looking at doing a signal study for the majority of the village because of the interconnected signals on Oakland and Capitol. I was hoping to have a cost estimate from the village engineer for that, but I do not yet have that at this time.
Thank you, Leanne. Trustee Kudo?
I'm very familiar with that intersection. Since my high school age child enjoys a ride to school now and again, and having grown up here. So I'm interested to hear from the residents. I think I have what I need from DPW.
Great. And at this time, we'd love to hear from any resident that would be interested in speaking on this matter. If you would like to speak, please just come up to the microphone and state your name and your address, please. Thank you. That's a microphone. Yeah, you'll have to speak really close to it so it can pick it up. The video.
Is that okay?
A little closer. Thank you.
Okay. All right, I'm at the 3916 building. I never even thought of 1818, but I can see because the cars are lined up way down there too. And they could actually have something done, just like what I'm going to suggest. I did have an accident there, trying to get out somewhere. I don't like to even consider leaving between 7:45 and 5:08, 8:05, something like that. It's just insane. And we have a very short drive, you know, and you want to get out without the garage door hitting your car. It's steep. In winter, it's of course worse. And sometimes, usually the snow is pretty good, you know, taken care of. But there's only room for 2 cars between Oakland and our driveway. And they don't stop. Kids, it's parents, it doesn't matter who, they're in the driveway. And I know that the sign there, I even put some years back, I put a flag on the sign, didn't do any good. It's kind of high, I've noticed. Truck drivers can see it. Okay, let me just see if there's something else important here. Okay, you're not only watching for cars both ways, coming from the intersection quickly. Students walking, and it can be both ways too. And then the steep, you want to get out of the garage. It's really difficult. All right. Here's my suggestion. If we had a sign before and after our drive, both sides. On the east side, which is what they see first, if there was one pole with a sign higher for truck drivers, lower for the cars, one on the other side, same, and saying, do not stop, stop in capital letters between these signs. That's the best I can come up with so far. Because I know nothing, I had gone to City Hall or not here, I forget where, to say something, and I guess there's nothing they can, like they can't put cross lines on the street itself. But does that make sense, what I suggested with the signs?
Mhm.
Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay, that's my suggestion. So anyway, and 18 could have, because I see the cars all the way down the block. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that.
Hi, my name is Michelle Oxman. I live at 3916 North Oakland Avenue, same building.
Mhm.
And if there isn't a lot of traffic and some people see the front of my car coming up, some of them are nice and stop. Otherwise, they just pull right in front. And the hardest time is in the morning when people are going to work. And you just have to wait because there's a whole long line and there's a red light and they just don't move. And if I try to inch out, I'll just be real aggressive and say, I'm coming out, even if you're right in front of me and you need to wait for me. So that's the only way some mornings that I can get out.
Mm.
And that's why I think there is a sign. I think it's red. The printing is red. It's sort of tilted. It's sort of old and small. And I think it has to be in my best word to get people to do things or know things is say it needs to be in their face
Mhm.
so they can really see it.
Can I
Thank you.
just ask you a quick question?
Mhm.
When you're talking about leaving, is it the fact that people are trying to get into the school and just trying to navigate this street? So there's just a long line of cars that is just constantly slowly
Anyone that's
moving?
taking Shorewood Boulevard
Uh-huh.
going west
Uh-huh.
to get to Oakland for whatever reason, to
Yeah.
go into the driveway to turn left or to turn right to get to Capitol, because a lot of times I turn right most of the time
Right.
to get to Capitol. So many people, for whatever reason, instead of maybe taking Capitol Drive or they're from wherever they're coming,
Mhm.
Shorewood Boulevard, just because there's a light there,
Right.
might seem an easier place or not have to wait so long. So they figure you'll take that one. So there's usually a whole line of cars, sometimes from Murray all the way to Oakland Avenue.
Yeah. And that's predominantly morning time. You see, that's like that's the busiest time. That's peak for you
That is
guys.
the busiest
That's-
time.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I think so. If someone else
Yeah.
disagrees. And I again, 1818 leads off into the same, into Shorewood Boulevard. They're just further east. And so I can just see if there's a whole long line of cars, they're still going to have the same problem because the line starts way down at the end of the block on Murray.
Mm.
That all make sense?
Yeah, it does.
It does.
Definitely. Thanks for the clarification. I really appreciate that.
Got to say, my name is Mary Bahusky. I was the first speaker. And it doesn't matter, by the way, 4 out of 5 weekdays, I'm turning left. And so I put my signal on to try to help. Does no good.
And
On Shorewood.
and Shorewood's is Shorewood one way? I'm sorry.
No.
No, it's a two way.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So let me set the scene here, I think,
All right.
which might be helpful.
Thank you.
So when you're coming off of Murray on westbound on Shorewood Boulevard, what ends up happening is that there are a number of folks either coming out of these units, or coming from somewhere else in Shorewood who are trying to take a right-hand turn
Mhm.
to head northbound on Oakland Ave. And what ends up happening is that they can't because it's an active crosswalk with students.
Mm.
And so students clearly have the right of way. There's a crossing guard there and you get stuck because the person wanting to turn right can't turn right. No one else can drive around them into the school or whatever. While I understand the requirement or the request rather for a do not block driveway, I've seen the sign. I've seen the do not block driveway sign. and I'm not opposed to refreshing it or making it a little bit larger. But I think frankly, the real problem are folks trying to turn right on. Because even if you look at the left hand, if you're going left to go southbound on Oakland, students don't generally cross in that side of the street. They want to cross closer to the high school and get to class. And so at the risk of getting admonished by the residents, has there been any thought to making it so you can't turn right on Oakland Avenue for that hour, or any thought towards requiring you to turn left out of the parking structure to go eastbound onto Shorewood? I mean, I understand there's situations that vary a little bit, but has there been any has there not what would the appetite be? But I think really the problem is,
Maybe Leanne knows your answer.
yeah, is coming westbound on Shorewood Boulevard, trying to go northbound onto Oakland doesn't work. And it doesn't work for that 25 minutes because students are constantly crossing. And so everyone backs up. And some people are good at not blocking intersections. Most are not. But changing the requirements to a no right-hand turn for this hour, or, folks that are leaving from the, the condominiums to just turn left. Recognizing that, yes, you'll still run into problems with folks who are blocking the driveway and shouldn't be. But I'm just trying to alleviate some of the.
And the blocking the driveway comes because there's a long line, and what you guys are suggesting, what the residents are suggesting, is nobody stop in that sort of space if there's a line forming. Is that okay? Thank you.
But if no one can turn right onto Oakland, then there's really no reason for a backup, because you're either going left to go southbound or you're going straight into the parking lot at the school.
Yeah.
I've spent too much time thinking about that.
That's fantastic. I appreciate that. It sounds like everybody, we're not there yet, but it sounds like you.
That's my 2 cents. I only get one vote. So there you go.
I think, Matt.
I think we've had that conversation before, and I advised Ms. O'Neill that, we've talked significantly about the costs of pavement marking, and that I would not be recommending that to this committee.
Catherine O'Neill, and Leanne, if I can use your first name, it's easier for me to pronounce. Explain to me, excuse me, and there are the signs for the hub parking lot that says you can't cross there. And as Leanne said to me, and as I've observed, people don't watch that either. So those street signs, the markings on the street, the fact that they have to be redone over and over and over, and that costs the village a lot of money, and that nobody pays attention to them anyway, that's not helpful. But I think the people have said at the condominium that we need larger signs, and perhaps the signs need to be further west so people can see it instead of right up against where people are coming out.
I feel like this sounds to me like a bigger problem than, I don't think signs in this situation, although I'm supportive to try to figure that out with signs. In my heart of hearts, from being here and working with DPW and signage for the last 6 years, I'm not even sure signs are going to help you in this situation. I think people are just going to ignore signs regardless of what they say, because, this is a very sort of peak time. People are stressed. They're trying to get to school. They're trying to get out here. They're trying to get to where they're getting. It's a very stressful time for everybody, it sounds like. And people are going to see right past that sign. With that said, love to try to figure out with Leanne here what kind of signage we can that could help you. But I think, listening to Trustee Kudo, there's a bigger sort of, there's a bigger play here, a bigger traffic sort of, bigger traffic planning that we could do that could potentially help this a little bit better. But I do sympathize with everybody here. That's got to be really stressful. I'd love to know if we've talked to, have we talked to the condominium owner or the owner of this building? I know they're the residents, but is there a bigger, there's not, okay. There's not a management company, there is, but they're not, okay, yeah. Yeah, you're right, they're right, okay. And then, have we talked to the police chief at all about this sort of intersection here? And do they have any suggestions on how to,
I have not.
okay. One more, yep.
I
Yeah.
mean, is looking at traffic lights, or you're saying that's prohibitive because there are so many other lights involved? I mean, if more people could get out onto Oakland, I
Right.
think that would help.
But all of the signals are interconnected.
Okay.
So any change you make at this signal will impact Oakland and Menlo, Oakland and Edgewood, Capitol and Oakland, West on Oakland, or West on Capitol, East on Capitol. You can't change signal timings,
one.
just one.
Okay,
You have to consider it system-wide.
yes, okay.
Ultimately it'd be great to have an officer out there directing traffic and getting that to flow, but I'm not sure if that, I'm not sure if that is cost effective. I know it'd be very helpful, but I'm not sure that's something that we can actually do.
I don't think, I mean, in the end,
There's a crossing guard out there,
I don't,
right?
yeah, I don't think it changes the problem, which is folks turning to go
Right.
northbound on,
Right.
that's what stymies. the
I mean, I think if you
entire-
had an officer there or somebody there saying, stopping people from that flow and then just directing people from this to this flow.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you could, I mean, we could never.
Yeah, I
it's-
know.
It's cost prohibitive, but,
Right.
I think that you could look at longer term, not allowing folks to turn right
Mhm.
for that hour and just, and residents recognizing that if you leave the building, and you want to go on Oakland, you've got to go, the Murray Capitol Drive route, unless you're willing to go left on, and go around Newton or whatever. But I just don't see, to your point, I don't see a sign, and I'm happy to go that route, but I don't see a sign fixing your long-term problem here. Which is just, it's just a really active area, for that time period.
And it's just during school. Summertime is probably eases up a little bit, I would assume. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, it's great to know these issues exist in the village, and I'm always really interested to figure out how we can open that flow a little bit better. It's really a conversation here with Leanne and the department and maybe even the police chief to figure out, is that a possibility? Is that something we can try? Because I would love to try something. If this is
Yeah,
not
I mean-
working, folks can't get out of their homes in the morning. It just seems like a very stressful situation. So
It's just a matter of putting up a sign.
Yeah.
We don't need an electric.
no
sign.
turn, no
We don't-
turn.
Just no
between the
turn
hours.
between the hours
Yep.
of 7:30, no turn right between the hours of 7:30 and 8:30.
Yep.
And see if it helps.
Yep.
And if it doesn't, we can try something else. But I sympathize, but I see the sign of
Yeah.
do not block the driveway helping.
Because signs, you need enforcement, right? And if you'll need an officer to come and potentially ticket somebody. That's the only deterrent. But, what,
I like his idea about not turning right during those times. It'd take a while to get used to, but that's fine. I already turned left 4 out of 5 days, so
So if your neighbors
that's not
start
helping.
yelling at me, I'm going to direct them to you.
I don't care.
Okay.
We want safety. And I'm still going to push my idea of the 2, actually 3 signs, 2 on the 1, because it doesn't say stopping right now, I don't think, because there's a big difference between not blocking the exit is what it says, something like that, not blocking the driveway. That's different than saying not stopping between 2 signs that they can see and that they can see low enough for the cars. That's
mean-
all. I love the 2. I can see them working together.
Yeah, I don't have a problem putting a pole in, changing the signs out to, no stopping between the signs.
Yeah.
And see what happens, right? But it seems like we're taking care of a symptom and not
the cause, yeah.
Putting a sign up saying that you.
Sorry,
cannot-
you have to put your
Sorry.
name. Yep,
Thanks.
yep,
Name
no
and
problem.
address.
Putting a sign up saying that.
You just have to say your name and address. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
Okay.
Thanks. Ann Gorman, Eastwood.
Thank you.
And having a sign that says people have to turn left at that intersection. If they're going west, they have to turn left. Is going to cause a bit of confusion and difficulty at the very beginning until people get used to it. And so that's an issue there. Part of an issue that has not been mentioned this evening is that the driveway coming up from the garage is down a whole level. And so it's more difficult for people to see that there is a driveway and people are coming up from that. But, you know, they should see a car sitting there. So,
Yeah, I mean, that might, the remedy there might be more of a conversation with the management company and say that you need a light or something so that when, you know, if you had a little rotating light or something when the garage door came up, then people would be cued that there's something happening there, but it,
no, it's so far down, people.
right. But if you had a light far, I think that's more of a conversation for the management company. I don't know that we can help alleviate the sort of discrepancy between where the cars leave the building.
No,
and
you
where they
can't,
hit the
right,
street.
right, yeah. I'm just saying that makes it
Yeah.
more difficult for people who are focusing on the pedestrians, the cars, the lights and all that. And they're not liable to see the
Sure.
driveway that's coming up, but it's, thank you.
Question for the chair.
Yes, sir.
If the residents were interested in trying to go we're only agenda tonight for signing. For
Right.
the most part. So if the residents wanted to try something, a no right turn on, do they come back? I know this may be a question for step out for a moment. Do they need to come back? Something we can just ask to discuss at the next meeting?
I think this would be worthwhile to, maybe I'm wrong here, Rebecca, but schedule for maybe another brief discussion internally with us and maybe the police chief. Just kind of,
Yeah.
I would say before we would say, let's do a no right turn
Right.
sign to Oakland. Let's loop in the police department, make sure that they're prepared for that because there's going to be some confusion. We'll need to have some enforcement right off the bat just to show people, you know, the new way, the new flow. So I'd be interested in furthering discussion. You know, if we're talking about doing that sign, but then we're also talking about two signs not stopping between each pole and the driveway. And we're talking about a lot of signs now. And you know, I'm
Yeah.
for signs. I think it's going to help. I think it's the one thing we can do to help in this situation. But I'd be interested in having that kind of holistic conversation internally and figuring out, you know, a plan, you know, moving forward. And we can, you know, if we want, can we maybe agenda this for another time or for a meeting soon, so we can actually sort of talk a little bit more in depth about the potential of no right turn on Oakland. Does that sound like a good strategy? Okay. Are you good? Matt, do you have any, I know you came in just a couple minutes late, but I'm sure you're caught up here. Do you have any thoughts on any of this? Okay. I know that's not a big answer for you tonight, but it sounds like we're moving in the right direction, at least for you guys. Okay. Yep. Yeah, we want to make
Yeah.
sure that we can help, you know, more than what we're already doing right now. And it doesn't sound like the signs are extremely helpful right now, but but you know, I think that we can get somewhere that could be much more helpful. Thank you.
Took me down. I came in scared.
Saying a lot. Our next agenda item is to consider recommendation regarding code modifications to allow for the provision of recycling service to 4-unit dwellings. This evening's presenter, Leanne Butchlick. Have the trustees, have you read through this agenda item?
Yep.
Do trustees have any thoughts regarding this?
I'm pro recycling,
Pro recycling.
so
Fantastic.
I'm pretty sure Matt is as well.
So this would be, instead of going with a contractor, these units could get their own recycling carts?
So, the Department of Natural Resources, Recycling Division recently went a rulemaking review, kind of an audit. They do this periodically, and they made a number of changes, none of which really significantly if impact our operations. There are some additional education requirements, community education requirements. But in the course of reviewing those changes, I realized in their updated draft ordinance that they define a residential property as 4 units or less. Our code defines residential as in not multifamily
Right.
residential, 3 units or less. So I just asked about the clarification of
Clarifying the
that,
code. Yep.
and they said, no, you can't do 3 units or less. You must do 4 units or less to be in compliance with the administrative code and eligible for your recycling grant. So, as it turns out, there's 6 4-unit buildings, not.
Oh, I understand now. Okay, so
So we have to provide recycling services to those 4-unit buildings, or at least offer the service.
got it.
So we looked, there's 6. And basically what we would like, how we would like to proceed and would like your, blessing of that is to contact these owners and explain that we will be providing them biweekly recycling service like we do all other residential units. We will provide a cart for each unit. And they then if they choose to use the village to provide that service, thinking they probably will, they must be aware that they have to comply with the current code regulations, which means these are all on alleys. All those carts have to be stored outside of the alley, and they have to be brought to the alley line for collection. Now, some of them it's going to be very difficult for them to comply with that, in which case they may say, maybe I'll just stay with what I have. I doubt that's going to be the case. I think they'll all probably try. But we need to be very clear that, that there's not a lot of room back there. So these are the regulations, and these are the ones you have to follow in order for us to provide you this service. And we can give it a try and see if it works. And if it doesn't, we'll have to work with them and see, how they might change that, or they may have to go back because of space reasons to their own provider.
So
Kudo.
should they decide to say yes initially, so that increases our budget by $217 and some odd cents. Is that a permanent thing, or can they then opt out 6 months down the road? They decide this isn't working for us.
They could, sure.
Can
we-
2 people in the unit not do it and 2 do it if there's 4 units?
Or is it
Or is it all
management
in?
decision, like an owner decision?
Excuse me, that becomes an owner decision.
Okay.
We don't really get involved in that. We provide parts equal to the number of residential units. Now, if they say, I don't really need 4, I don't want 4, then okay. But if we get a complaint from a tenant, then under the administrative code, we're required to follow up on that and make determination, get the building inspector involved and do citations, all that stuff if we need to do that. But
I'm gonna admit,
we
this
would try
sounds slightly problematic. I can envision already issues arising from this, just from carts being left in the alley and not a place to,
I mean, there's
essentially put these
one of the
carts.
properties, you probably will know it if you drive by it. I think it's the Woodburn property. They actually have 2 3-yard dumpsters now, one for refuse and one for recycling. And they're basically just right in their side yard, right up against the sidewalk because they don't have any space. So I don't really foresee them trading that for 4 carts because 4 carts would not fit in that space. But this is the law. So
Yeah. And do we talk to the owners, and then the owners then discuss with?
we'll be contacting the owner. Yes.
It doesn't seem like much for us to do here other than,
Yeah.
yep, sounds like a good idea that
Exactly.
we follow administrative code.
Yeah, yeah, for real. Okay. Well, is anybody interested in making the motion? Do we have a motion on this?
There doesn't seem to be a.
There's no
There's
motion.
no motion. It's just,
No, I just really wanted to get a pulse.
yeah, I mean,
And so the full code revision, the code revision will come back to the full board,
Okay.
probably in March.
I think we should follow the law.
I agree. Sounds like a plan. All in favor of following the law? Aye. Good. Is
was-
that all you need from us?
That was you, by the way. That was not
That's all
me.
I need. Thank you.
All right, and our last agenda item for this evening is to consider appeals to the street lighting operations special charge. And this evening's presenter on that agenda item is Rebecca Ewald.
I'll start out with the PowerPoint presentation, just to give you a brief overview before you discuss each individual appeal. This is our third round of appeal. The process is the same as the last two times that we've met with each other. Public Works has jurisdiction to make the determination on streetlight charge appeals by village ordinance. We have 5 appeals, 4 that are on corner lots, 1 that requested a shortest distance. And, you know, just the update that moving forward in 2026, the charge will be based on the shortest distance. So the appeals that you're reviewing tonight are for the utility bills that were issued in November of 2025. So if there is a change or an appeal is granted, it will be applied only to that November 2025 bill. And then moving forward with our first utility billing cycle in 2026, all corner lots will be charged based upon the shortest lot line of that parcel, but no less than 40 feet.
I'm comfortable with all of that.
So the first property before you this evening, and I should note that we've already updated our GIS system for corner lots to
Artist.
with the exception of this one, because they applied before we did the change. We've adjusted all of the lines already to apply to corner lots. So don't be confused with prior slides, but this corner lot is at 1004 East Glendale, currently reflecting a charge based on 133 linear feet. The requested appeal is to be based upon the shortest distance at 59 feet.
Great.
Is there a motion?
Oh, I'll move to use the shorter distance of 59 feet for the corner lot 1004 East Glendale.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Second property is 1916 Elmdale Court, pardon me. The annual charge is based on 43 feet. The shortest distance is also 43 feet.
Move to deny claim.
Do you have any context on this?
I don't believe that they are a fan of the charge.
Okay.
The full email with their appeal is also included within the packet.
We've got a motion. I second that.
There's a streetlight charge. They only have one street that abuts their parcel, which is 43 feet. And they would not care to have.
Yeah, I mean, in the email, it's basically that the lights weren't. 95% of the time seems a bit inflated for the lights not working on that street. The email just basically states that they don't want to pay the fee. There does seem to be some concern regarding returned calls or messages from DPW, but I don't have any firsthand knowledge of that. You know, we're already using the shorter of the two, which is what we're using for everyone else in the village. So I remain
Right.
comfortable with my motion to deny.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Then we have 1320 East Lawnwood Place. Their current charge is based off of 142 feet. The estimated shortest distance is 49 feet.
I would move to use the estimated shortest distance. And as a caveat to all these, they'll be corrected through GIS.
Correct.
Okay. So what I will say is I move to use the shortest distance for the corner lot of 1320 East Lawnwood Place.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's passed.
Next parcel is corner lot located at 2120 East Olive Street. Their charge was based off of 137 lineal feet, and they're requesting the shortest distance of 50 feet.
Again, I'll move to use the shortest distance for corner lot 2120 East Olive Street.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
The last parcel is 4200 North Murray. Their annual charge is currently based off of 100 feet. They are requesting the estimated shortest distance, which is 50 feet.
I'll move to use the shortest distance charge for corner lot 4200 North Murray.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
And that concludes the appeals here.
We have
There's another one.
corner lot, 4485, 4487 North Frederick Avenue.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I didn't hit the, the right button. But it's not in.
Should we save this one then till the next?
Yes, but because it's not listed. This one, however, has a charge based on 50 feet, and the shortest distance of 50 feet.
If this were on the agenda, I would move to deny.
Second.
I mean, I get the two options are on the agenda for next time, deny it,
We will do that.
or just let the resident know that.
Because it is an appeal, we will put it on the agenda for the next time and formal action, but it can also advise the resident.
I would advise the resident our sentiments, even though it wasn't agenda, and it would come back if they so wish to pursue it.
Thank you. That concludes
And
this item.
that wraps Public Works Committee for this evening. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Oh,
So an individual has a right to appeal following the issuance and receipt of that invoice for every utility bill. I would anticipate that 4 out of the 5 that you've reviewed this evening, they're corner lots requesting shortest distance. So I don't anticipate there to be many forthcoming. Correct. And we will be providing notice of this change with the February utility bills when they're issued for those with corner lots.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, this meeting has been adjourned at 7:10 PM. like we have a little time here before the next meeting.
And
All right. Good evening, everyone. I would like to call the meeting of the village board to order at 7:30 PM. All trustees are present. Has this meeting been properly noticed?
The meeting has been properly noticed and posted according to law.
Wonderful. So I'm really glad to see everyone this evening and thank you for your time, talent, and patience in advance as we conduct business. We have no special orders of business tonight, so we will proceed to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
I'm going to give it to the birthday boy. Motion by trustee Ursing, seconded by trustee Kudo. Any discussion? Yes, trustee Stokebrand. Whole item B. Any others? All right, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda with the exception of 5B, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 6 items removed from the consent agenda. Item 5B, consider regular village board meeting minutes from January 21st, 2026. Trustee Stokebrand.
On behalf of the regarding indicate that potential lot, municipal lots, 448 and 4050 Norfolk.
I'll second. Or keep going, sorry. I thought you were done.
His role. 11A. And 5, it should be 2, 5. 11C. Contract.
All right, so is there a motion to approve the minutes with the requested changes? And we have a second by trustee Kudo.
Yep.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That concludes item 6. Moving on through public hearing, we have none this evening. Citizens to be heard. This item is for matters not on the agenda. Is there anyone who would like to be heard this evening? There is no one present in person. Is there anyone on the recording? I don't know who LD is. All right, hearing and seeing none, I will close that item and move on to new business. 9A, consider resolution 8078, sanitary sewer user charges. This comes to us with a unanimous recommendation from the Budget and Finance Commission or Committee. And so Mr. Hinkie is present. Are there any questions in advance of a motion? Yes.
This is for the sewer, and the PSC has no oversight on the sewer utility.
Yes. Thank you.
2026 3078 implement the village of sanitary.
Second.
Motion by trustee Stokebrand, seconded by trustee Ursink. Any discussion? Hearing none, this will be a roll call vote.
Trustee Warren,
Aye.
President McCaig,
Aye.
Trustee Stokebrand, Trustee Ursink,
Aye.
Trustee Arndorfer,
Aye.
Trustee Kudo,
Aye.
Trustee McGovern.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-0.
Thank you. 9B,
consider senior resource center proposal for available space in village center lower level. This is an item that came to us from Strategic Initiatives with a recommendation to approve. They had several discussions about this item. Director Price is here this evening for questions. Is there anything that you want to add in addition to the material that we've already received and reviewed? No late breaking details? That's fine. You don't need any. All right. If there are no questions, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by trustee Kudo, seconded by trustee Ursink. Any discussion? Yes, trustee Stokbrand.
building by the staff office. So like one,
We have a total of 1.7 FT. So we have 1.5.
each get a private.
As of now, that would be the ideal. As of now, the preliminary drawing, we had to sacrifice the second staff office to get the programming space that we were looking for. The conceptual drawings that we received are just that, conceptual drawings. So when we go to architectural drawings, we'll revisit that, but we're willing to sacrifice that office, getting the programming space layout that looking.
And another question I had was about the maintenance. I believe the village will. So. Sure. But you have. I wonder if we.
I think that that would be something that might be helpful in the future. I don't believe that it was the intention to, nor has that been clarified. So I think you touch on a good point. I don't, Director Price can correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't think that that was the intention with things within the programming space. I believed when reviewing the proposals that it referred mostly to the basic utilities associated with that area. Heat, electric, phone.
We are anticipating the Benjamin Fund to cover the furnishing. And for instance, we lost our refrigerator last week and Benjamin. So those types of, we have traditionally relied on the Benjamin Fund and intend to moving forward.
And that's a good point. This is a proposal for design and use of the space, so.
In spite of.
I do. We're putting this proposal forward, understanding that there are limited resources available for staffing. We feel that the larger space will actually help us maximize our staffing, having things more present for us and accessible. I think that we can, with this a dedicated space for us to use most of the time, I think it will help us with our scheduling of staff and ability to stay in our.
I have. Infrastructure. Really. If there's.
Understood, and we don't anticipate.
And might have. supporting a business and concerned about. That's an together.
Well, we certainly, we want to, we like to strike a balance. We want people to have a place where they feel community and go for community. But we also do a lot to support the business through, you know, our catering. What we really, our goal, keep people connected to their community throughout their lifespan. And we recognize that as we age, that sometimes becomes more of a challenge. So we people, and so we're trying to strike a balance that way.
All right. Well, thanks for all the work that you've done with this. And I understand that there's going to be some analysis of programming and things like that that go along with it. And I'm excited to see what happens next. So at this time, if there's no further discussion, I would like to hear all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 7-0.
Gosh, for this, I'm really excited.
It's a big mi-
Congratulations.
It's a
Thank
big
you for the work.
milestone. Yeah, glad to be a part of it. 9C, consider recommendation on service delivery study. So this comes to us also from strategic initiatives where you had a few meetings. This was something that was sent to committee after approving initiatives for the year and approving the budget. So do you want to give a recap of what the recommendation is?
Sure. We had been asked to look at the possibility of RFP for a village-wide study of services. And as part of that, we just something that one of Trustee Kudo raised the issue of looking specifically at DPW since we're going to be building a new facility. The thinking was that this would be a good time to look at service levels in DPW in particular. And so we decided to get a report on the work that the department has already done, some of the strategic plans that have been done over the years to look at ways to be more efficient and provide services with, like improving equipment to be able to provide the same services with lower labor costs. And there's a whole list of different organizational analysis that's been done. And so we kind of went over that in the committee. And so just going through all the work that's already been done on the analysis of the DPW and recognizing that we have other studies of the police department and other services in the village. It was the consensus of the committee to not make a recommendation for an additional study. We thought that it would be unlikely that we would find efficiencies to justify the $150,000 cost. So we decided to not make a recommendation on doing a new study. And all of the materials that I'm referring to are in the packet today, and more detail on the list of work that's been done to analyze what DPW's been doing already is in the agenda for the strategic initiatives meeting in the last.
Yeah, so I think all those meetings and references are hyperlinked in the memo.
Okay.
So yeah, if you actually clicked on all these links, this would be an incredibly lengthy memo. So I really appreciate all the time that you took to consider this thoughtfully, especially with the price tag. So at this time, we do not need to take any action unless there is a motion. Oh, you are asking for a motion to not proceed with the service delivery RFP.
Because this item the committee did not make a recommendation of a yay or a nay, but wanted to provide a summary. I am requesting that we say yay or nay, only because this is an initiative for the board. So if it does drop off the list, then it gets removed and.
We want to have a record of
e-
that,
Exactly.
not an open loop.
So I'll move to not proceed with service delivery RFP.
I'll second.
All right, motion by trustee Ursink, seconded by trustee Warren. Any discussion? Yes, trustee Stokbrand. Good question. Did the committee consider that?
I mean, we were kind of focused on just the more narrow issue of should we do this RFP for a new study or not? And I think one reason we didn't make that recommendation is that there's already been so many studies, and a lot of that work has actually been done already, or it's in the process of being implemented. So we didn't look for new ways to be more efficient or new things to cut.
Thank you.
I mean, we did go through line items and discuss several of the different recommendations that were made. And so, we went through departments, we talked about different service levels, and, we really weren't getting anywhere where we could see how an RFP like this would really help navigate us. We just looked at that as just sort of almost a waste of money. So
Yeah, and just to kind of add more to that, the list of things that DPW has already done or is in the process of implementing since that last review, it's really detailed and really thorough. So, I mean, there's analyzing a new DPW site, that's one item on there's like a whole host of bullet points. So there's actually quite a bit of work that's either been done or is in the process of being done, all to the end goal of being more efficient with how we provide services that people want.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I was the one that initially brought this forward. I think the impetus behind this was that not necessarily to take a holistic look at every department and try to find a ton of efficiencies in every department. We did, as Arthur mentioned and Matt mentioned, go through DPW, all of the initiatives, where they stood, what could be done. And to Arthur's point, I think there was a lot of, we could sort of nibble on the edges and find a few things, but there was nothing that we saw that would holistically change the expenditures from the village beyond things that we weren't prepared to do, at least at that point, which would be, combining DPWs. And, so my initial thought for this was not to sort of go piecemeal through the entire village government or DPW. My thought was we are having the discussion right now, building a new DPW yard, a new transfer station, and that we should be thinking about what we actually need to have happen to make those new construction projects efficient for not just the next 5 years, but the next 25, 30, 50, 100 years. And so that's what, it was less of a, let's look at everything right now and more of a, let's make sure that as we move forward, we have a better understanding of what a DPW looks like in the future and what we need ours to look like in the future. And after having that discussion and then going through everything else, I agree with my fellow committee members that there just wasn't at this point a need to spend $150,000. Because frankly, I don't think that we would make that up in efficiencies.
Thank you, trustee Warren.
I just want to thank the committee for its work on this and for its very thoughtful approach to this. I take what Eric says, and I think it makes a lot of sense in terms of, our focus now is on what we're doing with the future DPW. what an efficient DPW looks like in 5, 10, 15 years down the line. Something like this, especially given the big price tag, seems to make a lot more sense to me kind of on the back end of that as opposed to on the front end of that. So I think it's a good call to not do it right now and to focus more on, what we've been focusing on for the last couple of years here in terms of the future of our DPW.
Thank you. Trustee Stokbrand?
Right now, if there's a job opening or not, and whether or not to fill it. But I'm just saying, if you cut 2 positions from the police department, just as an example, because study is there, it says 23, we've got 25. That's over $250,000. That's $300,000. So I guess if we're not going to go forward with this and we see what the numbers look like with the long range financial plan and the budget in September, I hope that because of all the fees that we've added and the feedback that I've gotten from residents, and the water and the sewer are only going up in double-digit numbers that start with a 2. I hope that we're willing to look at those studies and consider possible reductions in force, temporary hiring freeze, things that we could do to make a difference.
Noted. Thank you. All those in favor of the motion on the floor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries 7-0. That brings us to 9D, consider utility lead job descriptions. Thank you very much.
Yes. So we brought a couple of job descriptions to the JP&L today for utility leads. These are new positions that we just added to Department of Public Works for a little bit of restructuring to improve operations and also strengthen supervision within the department. So before you, there's 2 separate job descriptions. One is for a utility lead water, and the other one is for a utility lead sewer. Just to specialize in those areas, but also be cross-trained and be able to work within the department cohesively. Along with the job descriptions, there also would be a total salary increase of $2.04, and that would total just over $4,000 annually for this fiscal year.
Thank you. For each position or total?
Total.
Oh, okay. And do you want to summarize discussion at the committee level or?
Oh, sure. And I'm the chair of the JP&L committee, and thank you for the presentation there. This is really, I would call it an efficiency play where we see we're separating these out because they become so specialized, and it makes sense to have 2 separate roles as opposed to 1 foreman role. So this is something that the DPW has pursued for years, and now is an opportune time to do it. This was passed on the committee level by a vote of 3-0. The one thing I flagged was, just the need to maintain collaboration there, the need to maintain alignment. And it sounds like they have a very good plan, almost daily meetings in order to do that. But this seems like something that, especially as it becomes more specialized, makes sense to do at this point in time. So the committee was supportive of this change.
Thank you. Make a motion?
So I move to approve the utility lead job descriptions.
Second.
Motion by trustee Ursink, seconded by trustee Kudo. Any discussion? I look forward to supporting this as well. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Oh, you can stay put. 9E, consider revisions of to the Human Resources Manual. Did this also go through JP&L this evening?
This did.
Is there any, you want to summarize the recommendation?
There were, the conversation at JP&L was a nice presentation on the 5 or 6 changes, which are largely clarifications and non-substantive in nature. So JP&L was, again, unanimous in supporting these clarifications made to the Human Resources Manual. The clarifications, I should say, also included the COLA, so not all non-substantive, but that had previously been approved by the board.
Thank you. Is there anything you'd like to add?
No, that was all.
All right. Any questions for the presenter?
The only thing we did was we would change the motion to read the 2026 Human Resources Manual.
Excellent. All right.
So I'll make that motion.
Thank you, please.
I move to approve the Human Resources Manual with the 2026 updates.
Second.
Motion by trustee Stokebrand, seconded by trustee Kudo, to recommend, to approve the revisions as presented. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. That concludes new business, and we can move on to reports of village officials. Village president, I forgot to announce that we have an opening for our fire commissioner, our representative to the fire commission for the North Shore Fire Department. Renee Gratz had served in that capacity for many years. I forget how many years, but needed to resign because they are moving out of the village. So she will be hard to replace, came very highly recommended and appreciated. And so we are looking for a replacement. So I imagine we'll post an announcement. But this doesn't happen very often because there are no term limits for that position. So
They're just another position.
So I'm confused. I thought you and Rebecca.
I'm on the board, not the commission. So similar to the police commission, the board
They
manages,
hire fire discipline.
just like the police commission hires and
Is
fires.
one per municipal, one for each municipal.
Yes.
And then President McCaig is the North Shore Fire Department board is made up with the chief elected officials, and the bylaws for that group call for managers to sit in and act as voting members in the absence of the president
And that oversees budget and operations.
or mayor.
So the commitment is on demand.
Yes, but they meet frequently. I would say at minimum monthly, because recruitment is a challenge and an ongoing effort in the role of the department.
And so they play a larger role in hiring than, say, our police commission does in promotions, or no?
They have the same type of powers under state statute, but we don't hire as frequently as the North Shore Fire Department does, just because of the breadth of
Volume.
personnel. And they also have different type of recruitment and strategies that sometimes they combine with other departments to do, because there are also certain testing requirements that firefighters and EMTs are required to meet and then test into in order to be eligible for the position.
And when is the vacancy?
It's current. So we will circulate information about that, but I wanted to bring it to the board's attention to be aware of it and mention it in the community, but we will make sure everybody has that information.
Those are generally those are generally citizen positions, right? Not,
Yes.
there's no other elect.
No.
And so would the board need to advance our nomination, or how would that, what's the?
I think is it president appointment?
I believe so, but I will go back and double check.
Yeah, we'll double check. If it needs to come for confirmation, we'll certainly route it through the village board. Otherwise, I'll make the appointment based on applications after we have a period. If you think of any other questions, please email Manager Ewald. As I said, I've never had to do this before. Renee Gratz was serving the entire time I was on the board. Let's see. I think that concludes my report. So, trustees?
We just finished the 5th week of the Winter Farmers Market, and it's just been an incredible success. I know I say that every week, but I can't stress it enough. I think also from a bigger picture standpoint of view, we've had a lot of attention from the press. We did an interview with the Journal Sentinel last weekend. I know Fox is coming in. Fox News is coming in this weekend. We did, I think, CBS the weekend before. So this is great energy and great attention for Shorewood as a community. And we're just seeing the market grow bigger and bigger each week. And we have residents, we have vendors asking to keep it, to extend it for another month. So that's a really great sign. And, people have been really excited. And just it's another great thing that we're doing in the community to support our residents and all these great food producers. So that's exciting. Also this weekend, February 7th, this Saturday, is the Shorewood Chill at the ice rink. It looks like right now the ice is great. People have been skating on it. And, that will be from, I want to say, I'm forgetting the hours now. Look it up. It's gonna be in the village manager's memo.
1 to 3 or
Noon to
2 to
4.
4.
I think it's noon to 4. Yep,
Okay.
noon to 4. And we're working on some of the other details. There's a new crew in there helping manage it this year, but it's going to be fun. The community always comes out. We skate, we play hockey, we eat food, and it's just another great sort of community event. So that'll be this Saturday.
I had another meeting of the task force on long-term sustainability of the school district. And I would just really encourage the board members to go on the website and look at all the materials and pay attention to this as it goes forward, because the 4 scenarios that they're looking at, all of them would be a really big change to all of Shorewood, not just the school district. There's going to be a public meeting on March 2nd. So you may at some point start getting questions about this, but I'm just going to run through the scenarios really quickly. Just to give you an idea of what's being discussed. This is all in response to the cuts that we've had from funding schools from the Republican legislature and declining school age population in Shorewood. So they're basically looking at ways to save money through some combination of closing SIS, potentially shrinking the enrollment district-wide, or on the flip side of that, adding more open enrollment to bring in more revenue to the district. So, for example, scenario A, Lake Bluff would go from its current configuration to just being K4 to 2nd grade. Atwater would be 3rd to 7th grade. High school would be 8th to 12th grade. We would go from enrollment of 1,900 to about 1,600, and that would be accomplished by cutting open enrollment, which currently we're at about 12% open enrollment. That would go down to 2%. And then the SIS would continue to be used for the rec department, and the fitness center and stuff would move over there. Scenario B, which they're calling the 2 feet into 1, would again cut it down to go from 1,900 to 1,600, cut open enrollment 12% to 2%. Lake Bluff would be K4 to 6, Atwater would be K4 to 6, and then SHS would be 7th to 12th. I should mention the first scenario has the biggest cost savings. That's about a $2 million a year cost savings. Second scenario is not quite as big, but still around $2 million. Scenario C is they're calling 2 feet into 1 plus additional open enrollment. So Lake Bluff would be K4 to 7, Atwater would be K4 to 7, SHS would be 8 to 12. Total enrollment in the district would be around 1,900, and we would go from 12% open enrollment to 16% and save about $1 million to $1.5 million a year. So still a savings, not quite as big as the other one. And then scenario D is called 4 schools plus additional open enrollment. So Lake Bluff and Atwater would both be K4 to 5th grade. SIS would be 6th to 8th grade, and pretty much maxed out, like full classrooms and everything. SHS would be 9th to 12th, and we would move from 12% open enrollment to 20% open enrollment, with the financial impact would be between 0 to 500,000 in savings. So probably a little bit of savings, but not as big as the other. And this one also has the smallest student to staff ratio. But like I said, all these would be pretty significant changes for the district and for the community as well. So the next meeting of the task force, we're supposed to dive into these in more detail, and then the meetings go on until May, but the big public meeting, which I think will be pretty big, is March 2nd. So,
Board meeting.
oh, we do? Okay, well,
I think it's earlier in the evening. Let's make a note to connect
Yeah.
with the school district.
okay.
Because I remember seeing that conflict and looking, and it was earlier in the evening. So we
Okay,
might
yeah.
be able to schedule around it.
Yeah, most of them I think are scheduled around.
Did
Mhm,
anyone else volunteer for that? I know superintendent came.
mhm.
I volunteered and never heard back. So I'm glad to see that they took somebody from
Maybe the reply went to spam.
Only one.
doubtful.
Well, only one of the 4 includes the current SIS.
Right, all the other ones use SIS for other things, but not as belongs.
So if Sherwood Fitness Center moved to SIS, does it talk about return? Industrial arts?
I think the fitness center would be some other classroom at SH, but I don't think it's been determined exactly what it would be.
More to come. Trustee Yurcik.
Yep, just missed one other thing that came up is we had a meeting with the North Oakland Reconstruction. And what a crazy turnout that was. Wow, that was and crazy in a good way, I should say. It was there must have been
Robust.
robust. We had 100 people or 70 people. There, I felt like the room was full. I know there's a lot of folks from the bid. There was a lot of residents there, and our firm that we contracted did a great job, minus microphones, but did a great job presenting and talking about the reconstruction efforts. So it's very exciting to
Today?
see. Today it started.
Yes.
It's a birthday present for me. They waited
Deal.
just for me.
I said, please wait for Arthur.
Yeah, thank you. That's great.
Bring a bulldozer, please.
Yeah, they're gonna let me ride the bulldozer. Yeah, yeah.
Yet closing another street.
BPW 1 week lets me
Yeah.
plow, and now they're letting me. Okay. Anyways, yep. So just wanted to say that was a fantastic turnout. It's great to see a resident involvement on projects like that, and yeah, that's great. Looking forward to that project getting started and finished.
Wonderful. All right. Any other announcements? All right. Village manager, you have one.
He
I'm
has
actually-
one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I apologize.
One last one. Conservation Committee, last film in the film series, which is on protecting the night sky, is on February 15th, and Trustee Stokerand is speaking on a panel
I think it's the 12th, just February 12th,
February 12th.
Thursday, February 12th.
6 o'clock.
Thank you. All right. And we have a grant application notification.
Yes, so the village recently submitted a grant to the Refed Catalytic Fund. And we worked with the Compact Crusaders to kind of go over what we're doing currently for composting and what we want to see in the future as well. So our goal, if we were to receive this grant, would be to double our residential participation. We currently have 350 households signed up. We would like to get to 700. And then we also would like to expand to the school district and local businesses as well. So our grant, we requested $50,000. This would go towards getting a local drop-off site, potentially at the Department of Public Works, for people who do not have the ability to compost in their own residential area. They would be able to come to the drop-off site. And then we also would like to work on some marketing and working with the local businesses in order to try to just get more people involved in this. So with the grant process, we applied on January 21st was the deadline. We should hear back by the end of this month if we are moving forward in the process. And then we'll know if we actually receive the grant in May.
Fabulous.
Right.
I think there's a lot to guess. Trustee Stokerin.
In reading this, I was just curious. I know it's not relevant for the application process, but it would be fascinating to know what our tonnage we could possibly decrease, because that would affect our budget. we could make a significant decrease in the food going into the refuse bin, that's less that we have to pay for waste management to haul it away. So I know there's no numbers on that in here, but going forward, if we get this, I would be really eager to know.
Yeah, I know that Compact Crusaders does have a lot of data on that. I know we have the number that we have is that we've diverted more than 1.1 million pounds of food. That was as of, I think, a few months ago. So that number is probably slightly higher now, but we can probably get numbers like that from them.
And sadly, the schools are a huge food waste site. I know that from experience. Did anybody else have the PTO that did
That woman was
we're gonna
amazing.
make
Rest
you
in peace.
stand and show us the food you're throwing out?
Mhm. And then they
It was-
donated it. That
It
was,
was
we
amazing.
might be going out of scope right now, but
Anyway.
it was, that was
Yeah,
a
just-
really good
The
initiative.
school is a good place to.
Definitely.
Thank you. All right, I believe that concludes our reports. We have no future items of consideration posted this evening, and so I would take a motion to go into closed session.
I move to adjourn into closed session pursuant to section 1985 1C to discuss the annual performance evaluation of the village manager.
Second.
All right, this will be a roll call vote.
Trustee Kudo,
Yes.
President McCaig,
Yes.
Trustee Ursink.
Aye.
Trustee Warren.
Aye.
Trustee Stokbrand.
Aye.
Trustee Arndorfer.
Aye.
Trustee McGovern.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right, we are now in closed session at 8:13 PM. That'd be
Yes, please.
great. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole.